Hey guys, how you doing? We just want to do a quick update today on our gardens and how they're progressing for the season.
Hey you guys, welcome back to Heartway Farms. We're so glad you're here with us today. It is another hot day in Illinois. There's no way around it. We have had a stretch of like 90s and almost 100, at least 100
Humid.
heat index.
Yes.
We're not used to this, you guys. We're wimps. You Texans and you Missouri folk, you guys understand hot weather, but we're not used to it being this hot. But still, because we have water,
Yes.
we are still having amazing garden success. So today, so many of you guys have been asking about update on the kitchen garden, and then we're gonna walk you over to our main garden and the high tunnel and the orchard and the fruit trees and fruit bushes. And we just wanna give you an update on all things that are happening garden-wise.
Yep. Just if you guys didn't see it before, we had a kitchen garden install, how to do a quick kitchen garden. These are our beds that we have up in the front going, and they're kind of an instant garden, a kitchen garden, so we can do a link for that. And then also, if you didn't catch our video that we just had out a couple videos ago here, how all the gardening is happening, and that's because we have water.
We have water for the first time in 5 years.
Yep.
We're not hauling buckets up to our main garden. Julianne's actually over there right now
Yeah.
weeding and stuff, but we're not hauling buckets of water. We can use a sprinkler, we can use hoses, we can use all of that because of this pump setup. We are like over the moon about it because it has saved us so much hard work. And Marie's behind the camera. It saves her hauling some buckets. It saves Julianne hauling some buckets.
Yeah.
And it's just huge. It's a huge blessing. But I love. This year I had Josh and Jules and Will and everybody, Marie was helping, put in a kitchen garden for us right outside our front door. And it looks awesome. So let's just kind of walk through what we have here. Sound good here,
We
Marie?
did get a little late start because we had a cooler spring than normal, and we also had
And then it went straight to like blazing hot summer.
And then we also had the project of getting the water squared away. So we kind
Right.
of was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and delay the garden net a little bit here. It's not that big a deal. I know that there's other people's gardens out there that are looking amazing right now. They're getting their first harvest coming in.
Yeah, a lot of
so
people
we're
were
looking forward
delayed
to
though.
that.
Yeah, we were talking to some friends in Canada and they were also delayed.
Yeah.
Several states were delayed because
For
of the
sure.
weather. So let's walk through what we have going on so far. Do you want to talk through this bed?
Yeah, so right here, Julianne's got, first of all, we've got some herbs right in the front here that you can see. We did those in terracotta pots.
Yes, we're experimenting with that because it's, first of all, we all love how the terracotta pots look, but we wanted to be able to move our herbs.
Yeah.
So we want to bring them either into the high tunnel or inside our front porch to just extend the growing season on
Keep
our
them going
herbs.
year-round
Yeah, and
more
see how
so.
they go, because some should have no problem coming back.
And then we just repurposed some, we had some cattle panel laying around, and that makes some good trellis stuff. We could do some big, larger ones in the future here, but for right now, we just have some cattle panels shoved in the ground, and we've got some tomatoes growing up here. She's got some cucumbers started at different phases, so she actually has some seeds.
Yeah, you
in the
can't.
ground as
They
well.
haven't come up yet, so we have one that's ready to go,
Yeah.
and then some that are coming up behind it.
And these are, like you said, these are just our easy access garden items, right out front side of the front door. And then if you move your way back over here, we've got cucumbers trellising up. We've got, I think, sugar snap peas that are gonna kind of trellis up and over here. And I think Julianne's plan is to plant some lettuces in the shade once that's developed, and that way she can kind of use some different layering of space. So you got your stuff trellising up and over, creating some shade, and then you've got your underlayer there that you can have your lettuces that will be a little bit more shaded and long term. In this bed behind us, we actually, we did like a cover crop idea in here, and we just terminated some of the cover crop that was in here. And we also intermixed in that some.
She had beet
Okay.
greens in here that she harvested.
So, and some radishes. So we had beets and radishes, and then she's got a couple pepper starts going over here. And I think once again, she's gonna play around with doing some high density greens and just kind of see how long they last for.
So just yesterday or day before yesterday, this entire bed was all lettuce. It was all our baby cut and come again lettuce varieties, high density, and we were harvesting those greens, got lots of great greens, and then we turned super hot, so those, and we're a full sun. So we knew that was a short-term crop. So we just pulled that all out, and now we're starting on a second planting in this bed.
So the rabbits got their fresh lettuce.
Actually, it was funny because Isabel, you'll have to get Isabel's
lamb.
up front here, and she got to eat all of the barley that was in here that we fed to her. So we pulled out all the barley, fed that to her, and then we also fed her all of the lettuce that had been chopped off, and so we started over with the lettuce. It's too hot right now for the lettuce to grow out here in full sun. So that's why Josh was saying we're coming up with a secondary location for the second planting, and we're gonna add things that do great in the heat up here, like, you know, your tomatoes, your cucumbers, all those different things. And the herbs love it up here too.
She's got some, back here she's got some rosemary, cilantro, sweet marjoram, I think it is.
Yep.
This might be the anise hyssop.
The basil looks awesome. We've already been
basil.
harvesting our basil. One of my favorite fresh items is to do, we get our fresh basil and cut up fresh garden tomatoes and mozzarella cheese and make a beautiful little salad to put on bread.
Strawberry mint.
Yeah, that's an experiment. We haven't done that before. And then up here she's got her purple basil, more cilantro, lavender. What did she? Avocado.
Avocado.
She sprouted an avocado this year, which it's coming. We'll see how it goes.
We have dill over here, a big mint transplant, some borage, and Roman chamomile, Greek oregano, and the last one is sage. So
the herbs are doing awesome.
yeah, and they'll continue to grow pretty well. Once they get established and going, they kind of just take off.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so that's the plan for the kitchen garden. It's coming along really nicely. Let's head over to the big garden.
All right, so here we are at the main garden space. This is our blueberry rows that we have here, and we have been struggling with one thing, and that is weeds, lots of weeds.
Specifically in the blueberry bushes, because they're intermixed among grass.
Right.
And that has been a little bit of trouble for us,
and we're not doing any what? We're not doing any spray.
We're not
or
doing
chemicals,
anything.
Right?
Yeah, and so part of me just embraces the weeds in the blueberry bushes. And we also have strawberries intermixed in underneath a couple of our rows of blueberries, which makes it challenging to weed. You can't just get in there. This row, you can see this row looks amazing because we can weed the whole thing. There's no strawberries intermixed. So I'm kind of on the fence about whether I would do that again, unless the strawberries were so dense that it would cause the weeds to not come up.
So I think something that we've learned is that there's the art of cultivation, right? So there's a difference between tilling and cultivation. And real quick, something we've done is we've done a Back to Eden garden here. And starting off when we first got the property, we started bringing in truckloads and truckloads of ground up tree trimming mulch. It was free to us. It was a local company that we built a relationship with, and we did lots of it. And so what we've done is we've been really patient in the last 5 years. But part of that is there was a couple seasons where we didn't stay on top of the weeds. They went to seed, and then they made a lot more weeds.
Yeah.
So this year
particularly last year.
Yeah. So this year has been, we've kind of put our foot down, drawn a line in the sand.
Said enough is enough.
And
enough
this year is the battle of the weeds. So we are intentionally spending some time staying on top of the weeds, not letting them go to seed. And now we have soil structure here that's starting to be developed that is, it's premium. It's really great
great
stuff.
It's years of manure and Back to Eden garden and other things being tilled in. Yep. Not tilled, but broken down. Like, it took all that time to get it to where it is, but now it looks amazing. And Josh has been so diligent, Josh and Julianne. Everyone has helped here and there, but Josh and Julianne have been super diligent about coming out here and cultivating the soil to keep the weeds down. and it looks amazing. So we were late getting our garden in. We'll work our way over to that. We're gonna start up here. We were a little bit late on purpose because we needed to get water up here. We decided not to pick that battle until the water was established, and our weather in Illinois was a little tricky. So these combinations, we were like, you know what, it's okay. We're gonna take a deep breath and better start strong late than start weak and have to be playing catch up. So we have taken control back of this blueberry line. We had an awesome strawberry harvest this year.
We did, yeah.
It was huge and it was amazing. And so I'm so excited because this year it quadrupled from last year, maybe even more. It was huge.
I think that's a point to consider too, is I think this year we can stay on top of the weeds.
Yeah.
And then if we get some plants in the ground in the fall, they'll start to be established and they'll be really, really fast to push up before the weeds, and we can weed around a more established plant. So I think timing of planting it, I know in the permaculture world, intermixing your plants, layering your plants is really, it works.
It's good,
It's not like it doesn't work. It's just a matter of being patient, doing the timing, and kind of following that rhythm of the plants and how they have to go here. So.
And we sacrificed, there was one row of that the weeds had taken over, and it was too much, and the thistles, and the blueberry bushes just didn't like that row.
No.
Blueberry bushes don't do well in Illinois anyway, so to me, it's like miraculous that we have this much success from 3 rows of blueberry bushes.
Yeah.
And these are flowering and fruiting beautifully. Specifically, this row and the next row are doing amazing. So I'm really excited about our blueberry harvest this year. I already see little blueberries. We sacrificed our top row of blueberry bushes, which we're not doing well, and we have raspberries to put in this year.
Yep, we're gonna do some
raspberries and blackberries because they just kill it in Illinois, and it's gonna be awesome to have a whole row set aside for those things.
And those you can mow right up against, you can weed hard around, and they'll just come back again.
You can put them different places once they're established. It's all awesome.
All right, so we're in our young orchard space here. We have a large old apple tree behind here, but then this year, because we knew we had water access, we went ahead and we put in some peach trees, some apple trees.
Honeycrisp apples, Granny Smith apples, a couple peach varieties.
And our intention is to fill this in actually a little bit more with some more density of trees and whatnot. So we're just gonna keep adding to that. But any of those people who have questions out there, is the best time to plant a tree was the day you moved on the property, right?
I know, yeah.
So
we didn't do that.
Don't wait 5 years.
Hindsight. If you're buying your land today, or if you live in a neighborhood still and you have a property that you're going to stay on, plant trees. We did that at our other house, and it was so hard to leave that house, but it blessed someone else, so that's okay. In this orchard space, you can see that our fruit trees are currently spread out, but we are going to do some probably high density fruit tree planting in this area eventually. We're not doing it this year. You know, everything costs money, so that's part of it too. But
I actually wanted to do some high density, row of high density apple trees.
Yes, for sure. And we looked into some whips, some apple whips and stuff, and we had so many other projects going on. It wasn't the year for it. That's okay. At least we got 7 or 8, I can't remember, planted in the ground. The apples are coming in on the old apple tree. Josh did some super intense pruning last year because all of this was about, I don't know, triple the size of this tall, and you can't get any of those apples. So he did some intense pruning to try to bring all of that energy back into the fruit, hopefully of the tree, and we'll see how it goes this year. Breathe some life back into the apple tree. But also in this area, I learned a cool thing. So when you're gardening, you don't always, actually, the best learning tool is just trial and error, really. And
get started doing something, right?
And it's interesting because I have observed in our high tunnel, we will work our way that way in a minute, but we have a lot of volunteer squash and pumpkin in the high tunnel, and we're going to let that grow. We thought about what to do, and we decided, hey, that's great ground cover. I want to do the same thing in this whole orchard space, and I'm going to call this like our chicken garden, not kitchen garden, chicken garden, because I want to plant squash or zucchini. I haven't decided, probably zucchini maybe, through this whole space to cover the ground so that I don't have weeds, and then feed all of that back to the chickens and the sheep and the animals. They love zucchini. The seeds are good for them. The fruit, all of that is good for them. So we're going to do that very soon, probably in the next week, and get that planted here. Again, better late than never, and it was an idea that I did not intend on starting with, you know, so I didn't do it. It's working great in the high tunnel, so I'm going to do that out here and just have this whole ground covered in
It'll have mint,
squash or
it'll
whatever,
have
zucchini,
squash,
whatever I want to
zucchini.
do,
Yep, yep.
and just feed that back to the chickens. That's free food, really, or very cheap food, really.
Right.
So, okay, so the orchard I'm excited about. We're happy to have trees in the ground.
Yep.
All right, should we go on to the garden?
Yep.
The outside
Yep.
garden?
So this is the main garden space. Like I said before, we're at about, I think about 100 by 100 for our main garden space that we've been kind of preparing the last few years.
But we're not using all of it.
And the height, we're not using it right now intentionally, and the high tunnel is an additional 30 by 100 for square footage as well. So we have some land that we've been developing, and we've been developing it with the deep mulch, the Back to Eden garden style, and now we have the wood chips on top, we have converted soil underneath. So we have, over here we've got some squash planted up there, and then we have some rows of onions, we have some rows of potatoes.
We have both red potatoes and then the gold, the Yukon golds and I think the Pontiac reds. Is that the right one?
Yep.
And then
red
and yellow onions.
Yep.
I don't really feel the need to grow white onions. Just we don't use them a lot. I like those two different varieties of onions. And onions are coming up good. Potatoes are coming up good.
Everything is. Yeah.
Everything is
It's
really
just a little
happy.
late. It's a little late.
And that's okay. We were not rushing it this year. Okay, next row.
So we have a whole bunch of, we have 100-foot long, 2 rows of 100-foot long tomato plants. All right, we're probably more towards 80 feet long. Let's be fair.
Okay, and full of tomato plants.
Full of them. They're
Different varieties.
pretty high density planted.
Yeah. Mostly San Marzano because they're one of my favorites to can up. They make, in my opinion,
sauce.
Awesome sauce, yes. It makes awesome sauce, and we are going to plan on putting away at least another whole year's worth of tomato sauce that we've done videos on this in the past. I just keep it, all we do is keep it as a basic tomato sauce, and then we bake from there, or we cook from there. I like keeping it all the same so that I can turn it into whatever we want for meals. But we have different ages of tomato plants here so that we can have stages of doing it, because it's a lot of work to can it all at once. So you can see we have baby plants all the way up to bigger plants that are doing really well. And real quick, let's talk about the spacing between our rows and why we did it this way.
Yep.
Because we're on weed control duty this year, Josh and Julianne are mostly.
Yep.
We made sure that our cultivator tool, we have an awesome hand tool, which Josh loves to use, but we also have a tiller that has a cultivate
It's like,
setting.
it just drops it down like 1 inch.
And that is the depth of this. So it fits perfectly in here. We haven't even needed to use the tool in here because it's so quick to use, this hand tool that Josh, you can show him the tool later.
Yeah.
But it's one of our favorite tools for coming in here and very quickly just cultivating by hand.
Yep.
And so we haven't needed to, but just in case, that's why we did this walkway between. So we could literally just quick till it up.
And we just used some baling twine. It's super cheap. And
this was cheap for us because it was given to us for free too.
Thanks, free friend.
Thanks, Tim.
So we use it just to mark our row to have some type of bearing, and it's loose. But if you snap it to like a regular line, you just kind of know where you're at there. And then once these get mature, we can pull these out of the way and just make it all that much easier to get around. So then over here we have corn, sweet corn. And Julianne wanted to try playing around with doing sweet corn and climbing or vining green beans as well.
So they're both planted in here.
Yep.
There's baby corn.
Right here, there's baby corn starting up here, and then this is a weed. There's baby corn, and then there's the beans here. And they're planted pretty tight, and the corn's starting to pop up here.
Yeah, I'm seeing some corns popping up.
Yeah, so we're kind of, the small weeds that are in here, we're going to let be small.
We're going to leave them because we don't want to accidentally pull them because the corn is little babies.
Yep.
So some things are easy to tell, and obviously the beans are easy to tell because they're really pretty and purple.
Once again, we should have put the corn down like a week ahead of the beans. But we got it in the ground, and that's what we're doing. So. And
you guys know, I mean, I would love to hear about your garden space at home. This is a great time to pop down to the comments. Tell me what you've decided that works and what doesn't work. You know, Jules wanted to do the planting of the corn with the beans together. Yeah, I just want to hear what your favorite varieties are to plant, what you guys like to do in your garden. Every year we have varied. We don't do the same thing every year. We change it up every year because we're always learning new things, always trying new things, and finding what works great and what works, what is a challenge, what doesn't work. So
yeah, grow what you like. That's what there's some things that we just didn't like, and we're like, we're not doing.
I'm not going to grow it.
Everyone makes fun of the green beans and the McElroys, right?
Well, only canned. Okay, we love green beans. Yeah. We love green beans. I love fresh green beans. That's my favorite way.
And you like them sauteed? You like them sauteed?
I love frozen green beans. But the minute you can them, I just don't like them, and neither do my kids. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to waste the time on that. Put away, stock up on the things that you like to eat, and do it in a way that you like it. So I save freezer space for frozen beans so that we're not wasting our energy and our time on that. Okay, we have that area behind the apple tree that can just be taken over by, what did she plant back there, squash?
Yeah, just some type of...
Is it butternut squash?
Probably acorn
We really
squash,
like
squash.
the making, like, you can pick, squash can be used as pumpkin, so it's really easy.
Yeah.
Okay, also we forgot to mention lots of peppers.
Yeah,
all
they're all
back
right
here
Yep.
are all the peppers. There's also, I can't remember what you said, there's also celery and cabbage back there.
Yeah, she did some herbs towards the end back there.
Lots of cabbage, lots of celery, broccoli we planted, and we love having cabbage and keeping that after growing season because we use that for lots of soups.
Julian did a good job with the shelf cabbage last year.
Yeah, we went through all
cabbage.
of it. We barely had any waste at all. So we are big fans of hot peppers too. So Josh likes sweet peppers, you know, like mild peppers. I should grill them for you, but I don't. we like spicy here. Everything's coming up really beautifully. It's still immature. We have some tomato plants coming in. And again, you know, I think next year we can even plan way ahead because water's in place.
The high tunnel's ready to go now.
High tunnel's done, which was a big project last year. Yeah. And there's a reason why we haven't planted the high tunnel yet. We're going to save that for cooler weather because it's very hot in there, and several plants could do well in there, but we want to do things the best we can in excellence.
And we're on weed duty, right? Once again, we're focusing on weeds right now. So we understand that it's the season right now for us to just knock those weeds down and to let the ground kind of prep itself here as we're giving it some time. It's hot in here right now, so like we're not professional high tunnel growers yet. That's something that we're getting into. Yeah. And we know our limitations, and that's okay.
There's a learning curve with it, and we would rather do an excellent job with a small space. Last year we tried to do way too big of a space.
Yeah, we learned.
And it's just too much to keep up with. So I'd rather do high density, excellent planting and have a good return than try to go and take advantage of every square inch that we have. Yeah. That's why I love the kitchen garden so much, because it's so maintainable, you guys. Even if you're in a neighborhood or an apartment, like you can do a small little kitchen garden and be extremely successful with it and have great yield from it. The amount of lettuce that we got off our kitchen garden was amazing. It was plenty for us for that season. Now we need to find a new place to plant it because it's full sun, or shade cloth it, whatever. We haven't decided for the next planting. But remember, we're going to be talking about microgreens in the future, so stay tuned for that.
Microgreens. So real quick about the high tunnel, people have asked. Like I said, we're attacking the weeds. We're letting it lay dormant for right now, except for this ground cover of the squash that is taking over. Yeah. And we're just going to basically...
More chicken food.
We're going to focus on getting that started in late summer and kind of let that springboard us into the early winter season. We are going to mess around just a little bit with getting some tomatoes growing up there and vertical growing them. Yeah. But that's more of a small pilot program for us right now.
It's kind of fun to experiment and see what works. I mean, you're not wasting, you're just learning. And I think because it is our first year with a functional high tunnel, we are on learning curve mode. Like we have to give ourselves some grace. I know you guys who have walked this out, there's a learning curve to high tunnel planting, and so that's what this year is. We're learning what works. It is 120 degrees in there right now, and it's, June. It's not even August here
and it's
in Illinois.
160 if you close the sides on it.
Right, so that's with the sides. Right, that's with the sides open. So there's a total learning curve. I know there's shade cloth that can be added, but for right now we have plenty of food out here. Yep. So we're going to use that for probably our third planting, because there will still be a second planting out here, but there will be a third planting going into fall and winter in there. And I'm really excited to trial and error that and see how it goes and see what works, so that we can continue to improve. You guys know that living on land, on a farm, on a homestead, it's okay to learn from your mistakes. I mean, it's silly to pretend like everybody has it all together. We can all do this and learn from each other. That's why I love hearing what works for you guys.
Because we got destroyed by weeds last year.
Because the weeds were ridiculous.
We did.
Yeah, and I know we're not the only ones. We've heard from you guys that weeds were really bad for you. So we're hoping to share this with you, because actually, as we are testing our weed attack theory, it's working really, really well, and it's beautiful out here this year. So I'm like thrilled about that. And Josh is putting in a lot of sweat equity, and so is Julianne. Yesterday, I took my turn, and I took a couple of hours out here and just knocked it down and enjoyed the sunshine, and it's working. So we will give more feedback about that towards the end of this growing season, and just share with you kind of how to beat those weeds, because we want to share something that works, and so that's what we're doing. And you notice in the background, you probably can't see it via video, but we've got water up here, so we're moving the sprinkler around here constantly. And when the sun is out, the RPS pump is pumping up to our holding tanks and allowing us to have water out here to water this garden, which is amazing. It's such an amazing addition to the farm. Big game changer.
That's the update right there.
That's
garden
the update.
Space.
We'll continue to show you guys as veggies come in and fruit comes in and all of that. Like
Let us know what you're growing, what's working for you, and like what you're doing with it.
And if there's anything you guys want to see that we didn't cover today, make sure you let me know, and we will cover those things in the future, all right?
Have a blessed day.
All right, talk to you later.